Greetings and welcome. I'm Rebecca Carner, Biofield tuner. Today we are tuning into the collective field created by each person's individual field, co-created by each person's individual field. And several of the people whose work I admire and I have informed me they work independently. Most of them work independently of one another, although some of them over the past several years have come to know each other and have started sort of co-creating and intermingling their information. But when I started following each one of these people's works, they were siloed against one another, not intentionally, but they weren't familiar with one another. And in that way, I took it as a way to sort of cross-check and not to be in an echo chamber of signals and frequencies myself, to keep a sort of broad and expansive and evolutionary perspective on what all might be useful moving forward. And two of the people whose work I admire have been talking in their own specific languaging around what I'm going to call templates and overlays that have been in place and in effect on each and all of us as individual fields, as well as on all of us. It's been in place and active on each of us, and also on all of us in the collective sort of morphic field. There are abilities and capacities and opportunities now to move away from and to move out of this sort of censured, strictured environment, to move differently. So today, we're going to tune into removing templates and removing placed upon overlays. All right. All right, let's just all, I'll talk more, but let's all arrive into the now. And let's all arrive into our breath and into being present. And let us be reminded and really focus on our interconnectivity and our constant connectivity with planet Earth, with the space rock that we are riding on, who hosts us, who we call home. Good. Good. Okay. Good. Nice, big, long, deep breath. And then release. And as you listen to the tones and relax into the tuning, anytime your mind really starts to wander, or if something comes up for you, return to the breath. connect to the breath inside you and connect yourself to whatever immediate and proximate environment you're in. Okay. This is the stability. This is the security. This is the presence. Right here, right now. Is where everything is. I was about to say lack of anxiety starts. So many people are having a really hard time. Anxieties, uncertainties, shifts, changes. It's all up. And being present and connecting into the now is the still point, is the place where that spinning can stop. It's not to never spin and not never to spiral out, but it's knowing how to find yourself and how to return. Okay, great. All right. So Martha Alter Hines does a really nice job of, in her most recent YouTube lives, of describing this sort of eggshell energy that people have sort of been encased in, and sort of like a bird, a baby bird pecking through this shell encasement. We are all being able to sort of reconnect with the potential of our fuller light expression and the source codes that are intrinsically us, that we've actually sort of been encased from, that her indications are that this shell can be moved off now. And when we use these analogies, they sound reasonable and fairly straightforward, but it's interesting about the conditioning that comes up, the conditioning that is a part of the structure. And that having to recondition our minds to realize that we don't have to think in that way, therefore we don't have to move in that way, therefore we don't have to keep recreating and co-creating the same patterns, right? But it's not like, oh, I can think differently. Oh, what if I thought things ought to be easy instead of things ought to be hard? Well, that would probably make things easier. Oh, that's such an easy idea. Okay, right, but we're not conditioned to do that. So to remember to change your baseline thought means that you have to condition yourself away from the conditioning. And that is an ongoing process. It takes repeated application and remembering over time. It's not a one and done. And depending on where each one of us is, riding the waves of feeling sort of alternately incredibly free and expansive, and then alternating to really disoriented and afraid or nervous or unsettled or disquieted. Everything moves different when compression lifts, but when you're conditioned to be used to the compression, it feels weird at best and really uncomfortable at worst when the compression is removed. There you go. Good. And Dr. David Clements does a really nice job of describing the most recent overlays that he was speaking into, one of which basically bottlenecks and s- mm, holds back, right? Like a kitchen funnel where a bunch of stuff is going, a bunch of energy is going into the hopper, but only a little bit comes out the other end, right? So there's this bottlenecking of energy. One of the templates and overlays has had in effect sort of our ability to be in full expression. It's had it be centered back and sort of compressed and eddied, right? Or dammed up, right? And then the other one is this sort of parasitic overlay wherein it's basically like our energy is being siphoned off of just a little bit at a time, kind of like those, it makes me think of those embezzling schemes where every time a transaction happens, you take 0.001 of a cent off of a transaction, which is almost never noticeable. And then all of a sudden you've amassed hundreds and thousands and billions of dollars by just this small siphoning of little bits. And so if we were to have access to our full bandwidth, what would we do? How would that feel? How would we move if we deployed all of our said energy? And even that just made an enormous well of heat in the field. It makes me think of, even though I've never really worn those compression socks, it's like if you take off the compression socks, does all the fluid and lymph and blood and stuff rush into your ankle or whatever? And while it might feel good, it might also feel warm or tingly in a bad way. Or like sometimes when your arm falls asleep or your foot falls asleep, it tingles and it comes back online and it feels kind of good and exhilarating. And then sometimes it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Let's really, let's really stay with this. It's like a flushing of potential, of resident energy. You never have to worry about being overwhelmed. The thing about all of this quantum energy work and all of what is becoming not only more available, but also more apparent to more and more people is that, unlike in our material world of increments and sizes and doling out and scarcity and portion sizes and stockpiling and this and that and the other, with energy, you always get exactly the right amount What comes to you is always and only yours and appropriate. Each person's selfness, however you want to understand it, will always sort of meter out and allow exactly and only what is right for you. So you never have to worry about getting Billy down the streets helping, right? You never have to worry that you're going to get too little or too much. And even if navigating this brings up discomfort or challenge or confusion or heartache, remember that our souls always choose growth. They don't choose comfort. This weird yearning and attachment to comfort and ease is a funny human idea, or that if things hurt or are hard, you're not doing it right, or that you shouldn't be doing it. That's just not always true. And with any discipline or rigor, there's always some rub that's needed for result. Yeah. Yeah, there's also, I mean, God, it's just, there's just so, even this, okay, so right, if you think of a person's field and then you come with a paper mache cast, right? Back in the day when kids would break their arms, you would put these sort of paper mache casts on. I'm sure they're made from something different now, but that's what I think of when I think of a cast. And to sort of distill a focal point on just an overlay as the theme of a tuning, the amount of nuanced complexity that just comes in that encasement is it's easy to get lost in the sauce, right? Because we think of all these things as a me problem. Okay, I feel this way, I'm having this, I see this, I'm, those of us who are self-aware and doing the work and all the things, I've noticed this pattern in myself. Okay, so then all of a sudden everything becomes a me problem. But so much of this stuff, has been going on for thousands of years, also hundreds of years. So there is cultural and collective overlays and compressions and censures and templates. They are in epochs of time, epoch. They are in cultures. Then you distill it down, then they are also in communities, right? National communities, regional communities. Then they're in neighborhoods and family communities. So many of these conditionings we inherited, they were handed down. It's not like, oh, look at me noticing this thinking error that Rebecca has. Yes, Rebecca is performing that patterned thinking error, but I came by it honest, right? I have been conditioned over time. My parents were conditioned over time. Their parents were conditioned over time. In many ways, I then went on and dutifully passed some of these things on to my own children. That's how this goes. There is a book that I've not read, and the title is It Didn't Start With You. Yeah, okay. So that's all of us. And as Eileen McCusick, the founder of Biofield Tuning, says, it may not have started with you, but you have agency to impress and change and inform and adapt. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fairly recently, I was in a ceremony, and one of my intentions was to release my attachments to all the things that were created that never had me in mind. And if you think of some of this encasement, this contraction of compression of energy, like that's just one strip of paper mache that's sort of plastered onto my field, right? Because when a person becomes attached to a construct, an institution, a relationship, a mindset, a belief, or whatever, that never had them in mind, you are forfeiting BTUs of energy, right? You are forfeiting little tiny quantums of your own energy because you are supporting something that isn't in any way then reciprocating and supporting you. So that is a forfeiture of zhuzh. Zhuzh that's yours. And then there's ways that we have either lost sight or things have evolved out of relevance. Where we can get caught in the pattern of being attached to and even supporting and giving life support to things that are actively working against us, right? So that we're forfeiting a lot of zhuzh. And I want to be so delicate here because there's no judgment there. You're not a dumbass for having done that. You're not a dumbass for having done that for a lot of your life. And some of it you weren't meant to see, some of it was meant to be not seeable. Some of it you never see until the rub gets too big, until the rub gets sort of noticeable and painful enough, and then you sort of stop and assess and think, oh, this isn't working anymore. Let me not keep doing this. But and then in broader cycles, some of it is it just wasn't time. Like it was meant to go poorly. I keep being shown the image of a field. Sometimes you have to burn a field. But if you burn the field before you harvest the crop, okay, that's the wrong time. That's not right. But you could say, but it was right to burn the field. Yeah, but not at that time, right? So all of these things, there's clockworks and machinations and timings and latticings of rhythms and patterns and cycles that as a white Western, quote, modern, materialistic, individualistic based culture, we've really moved away from our understanding of that, and we've really vilified rhythm in the broadest, most natural sense as something that needed to be corrected or taught or man-made influenced into some sort of correction rather than honored as the absolutely unmistakable natural organizing appropriateness that it has always been. Yeah. Wow, that almost winded me. That like hit right in the solar plexus. I'm not even really sure what that was. Okay, so like if all this comes back, yeah. And if we have full access to our capacity and also any then just outside of us impediments to that capacity rolling out just in its full glory, in its fullness. If those were all removed, like really, what does that look like? I know that makes talk about upsetting the apple cart. And who said it was bad for all the apples to be rolling around? Like, it's okay. I mean, who in the world ever made apples go all up in a pyramid any old way? I mean, maybe for a minute, but that's not, apples don't naturally do like that. All right, I think for the rest of this video, like all we have to do is loosen the compressions. Like, right, for some people that's almost like a mummy, right? That's going to be like completely unwinding and taking off the straitjacket and just completely being free. For some people it is literally dialing down compression from 10 to 9.8. Like, that's going to be right for them. Everybody is at a different drip rate, is at a different place. They have a different set of compressions. Anybody who's ever done PT, right? Those bands, those resistant bands, like some of them are real easy, and then some of them it's like an inner tube that would be on an 18-wheel, and you're like, ugh, right? Okay, so it's exactly like that, right? Yeah, those colored resistance bands. Yep, 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 yep. All we have to do and just be so gentle. Just reassure ourselves and those who we can talk to like this, about this kind of stuff, right? Tell each other it's going to feel weird. Tell each other that we're doing okay. Tell ourselves, that age-old conundrum. Okay, if I want what I've never had before, how am I going to know what that looks like when it comes a knocking on my door? That's the thing, friends. We're not going to know. Okay, I know my thinking is wrong. I mean, if you're brave and self-aware and courageous enough to have appropriately identified thinking errors, that's such badass work. And then it's the funny thing, okay, but if I don't think like that, how am I supposed to think? What? It's so humbling, and like that's the juice. That's the good stuff, right? Right, right. Okay. I just kind of keep moving all around this. Okay, whatever is happening in this tuning, the images are coming so quickly. The bodily sensations are really profound. To be totally honest, Rebecca's mind worries that what I've said in this video doesn't make sense or is so desperately incomplete that, quote, nobody's going to understand what I'm trying to support with and through. But the energy is so big that I in that wordless way, I mean, I guess I should not worry about words. I know better than that. Oh, phew. Okay. Okay, it's okay. Okay. Mm. The two analogies that I'd like to give words to right now are, for instance, if you've ever been in a place where they use the metric system, it's like to go from inches when you think, okay, well, 2 inches is about 4.5 centimeters or whatever, and you're kind of toggling onto both schematics, right? You're thinking and translating between the two, or translation, right? The other the other imagery metaphor is coming into when one learns a language and you think in your mother tongue and you then, quote, translate into the other language, but then more and more the syntax and the structuring and the various words that have ish translations but really have a kind of different quality or a different sense in the other language. Like at some point you just start speaking and building your sentences and constructing your thoughts and what you're going to say in this other format, in this other language. Or the first time, you dream in another language, right? And that letting go, it's such a funny. It's like, oh, well, I just looked at something and realized, oh, that's about 20 centimeters. And it's like, yeah, but how many inches is that? It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's 20 centimeters. I've been in the process of going through some notes and some notebooks and some work notebooks. And one of the notes I read recently was talking about how, why is it as humans we don't freak out when we walk around a lake thinking, oh my God, the surface of the earth is solid, but if I step, I'm going to get wet and fall into the lake. Like, why is that differential just absolutely acceptable to us? Whereas other differences, or even like, whoa, centimeters is not inches, and that's a differential, and which is better, and which one are, and it's like we get all hemmed in by one or the other or whatever, and it's like, oh my God, like both can just be. It's okay. All of it can be, just like the earth and the water can just be. It's okay. Just like these conditionings and these templates were here, these overlays, these working theories, these equations that gave us comfort or structure or orientation. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. But let's drop the pedal and really do some groovy ass math if we come up and realize that we have infinity equations that are absolutely functional and beautiful and creative, and we can make lines or parabolic curves or sharp angled geometries or curvilinear swirls and spirals. Oh my God, like the freedom and the agency. And it's like, oh, I can literally make anything I want. I can do anything I want. So much of these templates in this most recent swath of time, they have really only served as limitations and hemming people in. And therefore, the earth and the animals and the plants and the waters and like all of it's looking a little busted up because of it. So, let's all agree not to do that anymore. Okay, I'm in. We are not alone. You are not alone. I've been tuning over a decade now. For a long, long, long time, many people said, Rebecca, you're the only person I can talk to like this, or I don't have anybody. I feel like I'm crazy. Like I can't say this, to people I know. But now, that's what people used to say. But now people will be like, I have one friend. Well, I have one friend and my sister. Well, I don't have many people I can talk to. But like everybody's got like one person they can really talk to. And that's just going to keep growing more and more. Spend time among people who really receive your energy. Even if they feel few right now, more are coming. Do not waste any of your energy on those who can't or do not share your values. And I don't mean right and wrong values. I mean places of priority. I mean generative, right? Priorities are organized choices, right? By values, I mean, what do you choose to generate? Do you choose to make and follow the wellspring of generative energy that comes, or do you sit around and judge others, right? Do you organize your choices around wellness and expansion for you and everybody around you? Spend your time around people like that. Nice. And keep noticing the easing of compression, right? And if that this is just a great example. My client yesterday, my last client of the day, just in the past couple of days has really noticed her quick draw memory is just on off. And this is an incredibly intelligent person who has relied her whole life on sort of keeping an active running carousel of all the things, right? She has that much cognitive capacity, and she can quickly extract any factoid, right, out of this spinning carousel of factoids. And she's been doing such deep work, and she has realized when she couldn't quick draw somebody's name, she got really concerned because one of her coping strategies, right, one of her compressions of vigilance and performance and over-functioning was to be able to do that. And her identity, part of it was hinged on her ability to do that, but she doesn't have to do that. And the minute she relaxed, and literally she came in, she's recounting this story in my intake chair. And then in so doing, she had relaxed and had come into acceptance that something has changed. And without any pressure, because she was just relating to me what's been going on with her, all of a sudden she could remember all the names that she hadn't been able to remember with her assistant earlier. And that's the difference, right, between the compression, because it's still there, but it's the way that it's oriented, the way you retrieve it, right? When we take these overlays off, when we get out of these templates or realize we can edit the template or just get some kind of way and just choose a whole new template, right, for ourselves, or devise a template, right, or come up with a new working protocol, or play with a new equation to see if it works in a way that we dig and think is groovy. It's going to be different, but if we're so reliant on what was for our orientation, that can just feel really alarming. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I am going to walk off camera and grab some other sound tools here. I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to do a quick dust off of the edge of the field again, whether it's paper mache casts or sort of egg structures or energetic templates that look like I don't know what in your mind, right? As a way of, because again, it's not a one and done, just like a bird doesn't just emerge all in one fell swoop from the egg casing, right? It's a chipping, it's a process. They have to shake it off their little leg or whatever, right? Okay, so it's a whole thing. So this, it's like we tuned into the space, we kind of breathed into it. I came from the outside in and kind of worked at the templates and overlays. I talked about the beingness from the inside and we sort of pushed it out. So I'm going to basically shake and almost like a little bit of abrasive on some soap scum. I'm going to scrub it off, yeah, here we go. All right. All right. And if anybody else wants to just shake that off, like I keep seeing a deer or, when they get startled and then they run and then they reset. Because what was really apparent right there with the shaking is that, the shape of the energy fields is like a donut. It's a torus. It's a torus, right? This is a slinky put end to end. And so when you do something to the edge of the field, which is constantly moving inwards and outwards and whatever, then I don't even know if you can, I don't know how to do this. Okay, here we go. What you do to the outside then also runs through the central channel as well. So whatever we do to the outside of the field then runs up and down, both up and down through our central field as well. And I could really feel that on that. This is going to be a process, friends. This is going to unpack and almost like a snake molting out of its skin. Even though we're, quote, taking off an overlay, it's not just a one peeling, right? It's kind of an undulating, emerging, right? There, good, okay. Nice. Wow. All right, the images have sort of quieted down a little bit. Okay, I am going to wrap up this tuning right here, right now. I hope all the pertinent words that might help people connect to this work and this support and this understanding of what's available now and ongoingly. Again, oh yeah, this was a cool thing. So I'm filming this on July 1st, 2026. It's just happenstance that the first of the month fell on one of my Wednesdays, which is just pretty cool. And as always, whenever you find this, it's exactly the right time. And yeah, and it really just goes to show you that all of this is a process and that there will be more, much like sandpaper, when you're sanding a project, if you take really, really coarse sandpaper and sand it, you can think, oh, I sanded the thing, and you did. But it may not fully be ready for the paint or the lacquer because it still might be too rough. You would have to then do different levels of refinement of grit of sandpaper than to really get the polish or the surface or whatever that you're shooting for. And so we can connect to our energy, we can remove overlays, we can reduce our conditioned response, we can break open different fence lines of our thought patterning. But there's always more. And there's always, yeah, a new increment, a new octave, the infinite octave, right? Of angelic voices. They can just keep going up and going down, just like frequencies. They can keep getting smaller and smaller, or the peaks and valleys of troughs can get longer and longer, right? What if one sine wave, if one conical spiraling through eternity was the distance between our Milky Way and some other Milky Way 5 billion galaxies away, right? What if that were one trough length, where we think of frequencies as 750 megahertz, those are so tiny, but trough lengths can be infinitely small or infinitely big. This expansion, this evolution, this natural cycling that will go on ad infinitum, right? There's always more. There's always more delight and joy and light. There's always more delight and joy and light. Yes, yes. All right, I'm wrapping up. I think somebody sent me. Oh, thank you. And resets. Oh, wow. Thank you, Stephen. You haven't written in a minute. It's really nice to see you. Thank you for being here. I know I've spoken to you directly before, but I really mean it. Wherever you hail from, thanks for being here. It is my joy. I truly, I live for this shit. This is why I'm here. I am so glad it is meaningful to you and to others. It is my joy. It is my joy. Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. All right. All right. I'll be back in 2 weeks, friends. RebeccaCarner.com. If you want to connect, if you want a private session, if you want to explore different ways that we could work together, Because guess what? Overlays and templates and conditionings are off. So, hey, who knows what we can do? I'm here for it. I am here for it. Oh, with so much love and gratitude, you guys. Happy July. Happy second half of the year. Be well. You're not alone. We're all in this. I'm here. Until the next time.